Hello, my name is Michael Green, and with me I have Kerry Jo Hodjkin. He is a singer, songwriter. How long have you been in music?
I'm not sure I entirely want to. 31 years, Michael. 31 years.
31 years of like experience of working and collaborating with musicians and songwriters. Where did it all start for you getting into music?
My dad is a singer and plays guitar and piano, and both his parents were classical singers. So it's kind of, though I'm the first one to do it sort of full-time and make my entire living from it, it's the closest we get to a family business.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For you, what came first? Was it singing or the inspiration to write songs?
It's definitely singing.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad always used to kind of stand on the landing in between mine and my brother's room at night with his guitar and sing us to sleep.
Yeah.
And so when I was really, really young, I started just hanging out with him and singing. So my brother was the sport, because my dad's two kind of main things like sport and music. And my brother was the sporty one, and for me it was more the music. And I started kind of learning how to sing harmonies with him and stuff. And we used to do this song, and I couldn't even tell you who it's by because I was so young. I was like maybe 4 or 5 when we used to do this. And this song is called Daddy Don't You Walk So Fast, and it's basically about this guy who's leaving his family. And as he goes, the little girl starts saying, Daddy don't you walk so fast. And I used to sing that little bit in. And yeah, so we went from there. Doing that. Yeah.
And like the whole who was like your sort of inspiration? Like the one that you looked up to when you started
it's changed so much over the years. When I was really, really young, again, not entirely sure I want to admit this, but I was very into the Kids from Pain. I'm really showing my age now, aren't I? Really, really. I did have ankle warmers, and and I was also into Fox Spears. But then I kind of got into Whitney Houston, who I will never ever, as long as I live, forgive for breaking her voice.
Yeah.
It's like if there's anything on TV about her, I can't watch because it actually makes me just sob. Because when I was first really starting to work on my voice, it was singing wanted at me, and she was just absolutely everything, absolutely the voice of the generation, of my generation, and what she did to her voice and herself, I will never quite forgive her for that.
And I mean, on that note, it's like modern singers, and you hear about with Adele and people who blow their voices out, or maybe not the right singing technique and things like that. What's your views on all that?
I think it's a really interesting one because I love Adele. I absolutely love Adele. Just apart from anything else, the sheer artistry. There are certain things from a technical point of view that aren't perfect, but the way that she uses her voice is, it's just the artistry is phenomenal, and with the songwriting and so on. But also I think it's very important to note that when she had a vocal problem, and sometimes it can be to do with technique, but also it can just be from doing too much. You know, when you've got the sort of schedule that she has when she's kind of, bringing out an album and doing all that sort of thing, you can end up just doing too much. And she did smoke when she was younger, but I believe she gave that up when she had the issue. She had help from the best surgeon that we have in the UK. She had that sorted out, and then she did some retraining, and I really think you can hear that on the most recent album, on 25.
Yeah. She's hitting notes that she wasn't hitting before, especially live.
Absolutely. And she's really worked at it. And I mean, it's like, sometimes when you're younger, you feel like you're indestructible.
Yeah.
And then you start to get a little bit older. And I mean, she is only sort of, we know how old she is. I've always thought at some point she's going to regret naming her albums after the age that she is. I reckon about 35. She'll realise that's a really bad idea. It's like the 10th anniversary of her album, 25. It's like, how old you are. But when you're younger, you can feel indestructible, and you just think it's going to go and go and go. And you have youth and natural muscle tone on your side, and the voice is muscular. So if you don't work to maintain that, then it's not just going to be there for you forever. It's so many people say to me, because as you know, I do a lot of teaching. So many people say, "Oh, I wish I could sing," and it's like, no, you don't. You wish that singing was easy. That's what you wish. And it's not. It's muscular and it takes work.
I mean, like, because at that point, it's like, any like new and up and coming singers. It's like with Adele, you were saying about she did too much in a short space of time, and that's something that like anyone who's new, they just line up gig after gig after gig, and then realise that they're actually doing themselves too much harm. And sometimes you can realise that comes too late. I mean, I had an incident when I was younger where. And this is years ago, I must have been maybe early mid-20s, and I had a vocal lead, which is what happens with Adele, except I was not a megastar, so I didn't get the top surgeon to do anything. I just had to shut up for a month. And it cost me a lot of money. But basically, I did a gig on a cold, and I sang a really tough song earlier on, and my technique wasn't what it is now, just playing close. And somebody requested to hear it again, and I should have said no, and I didn't. And I tasted blood, and I could not make a sound for a month. You live and learn. But I try as much as I can now, and it's not always possible because sometimes my schedule is a bit nuts. I try and give myself a day of complete vocal rest when I just shut up. No talking, nothing, just, and it's hard. It is hard. Yeah, on those boards and just like have to write on that chalkboard type things.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, and I've done it with students. Sometimes I will put them on vocal rest, and you try doing that with a teenager. Oh my god! But it's like sometimes I'll say to you, if you've got nothing else, just put a little message on your phone so you can just go like that to people. Shh, I'm on voice rest, But sometimes you do just have to do that because the voice will heal itself. It will. It'll actually recover really quite quickly, but you do have to look after it. It's like I recorded 2 albums in 2 days at the start of this year up in Scotland, and I got into the habit that entire week. I got up in the morning, I drank warm water because your body assimilates warm water faster than it does cold water. I steamed my voice, and then I just kept hydrating all the way through. And then I was very careful about my warm-ups. I was careful what I ate, and normally I do not do that. That's no secret to anybody. And I was really, really careful about the moisture that I was taking in, and then at the end of the day I would make sure I didn't cool down afterwards, relax your larynx back down so it's still working intense, because that can cause all sorts of things.
What's your views, like how important do you feel it is to watch other acts, listen to other music, things like that?
I think it's incredibly important. One of the things for me that I find, because I tend to genre hop quite a bit, and I always have, and I find it quite difficult to stay focused for various reasons. Partly because I get bored if I stay on one thing for too long, but also if I get too focused on my own thing, I get bored of that. And then you can't do, hello my darling, we're just doing a little interview. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's alright. So one of the things for me is that if I want to get my focus on a particular genre, and by and large for me, it's trying to focus on the jazz thing. I will make sure that I go out and I listen to a lot of jazz. And one of the things for me with that, actually, the biggest thing for me that makes a difference is going and listening to instrumental jazz far more than listening to other singers. And I think that's probably something that's very specific to that genre. That jazz singing is so incredibly individualistic, and that
performing the last song tonight, give it up for the fabulous.
I don't know, I find it really. There are certain jazz singers that I'm just like, oh my god, they're incredible and they do inspire me, but it's few and far between. Whereas I can go and listen to instrumental jazz and it just takes you away. And also, you can practice scatting in your head. So you're kind of listening along to it and, you know, doing your own little thing with it. And that, this last couple of years, I've been going out and listening to a lot more instrumental jazz, and it's got me really focused back on it, which is good for me, because I'm not a very focused.
Yeah, just get into that zone.
I'm not a focused person.
What's your views on, like, I mean, within the actual music industry and like having to tough out the highs and the lows? What's your views on dealing with that?
It's one of the most difficult things.
Yeah.
It is one of the most difficult things. Apart from anything else, I think when you're in any kind of creative arena, you do tend to get a lot of people that are very self-reflective, very kind of in touch with emotion, but not necessarily dealing with it terribly well, and you're deliberately going into an industry, not that you're choosing to be in something that is unstable, but you're choosing to be in that industry and the instability comes with it. You don't want an unstable life. I don't think anybody wants an unstable life. But if you want to be in the performing arts, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it often does attract people that can be a little bit on the unstable side anyway. And so it's almost masochistic that you're going and seeking that out. But you know, so many times I've said to students, if you can imagine doing anything else, do something else. But for so many of us, you can't imagine doing anything else. It's like, if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be alive. I might be living, but I wouldn't be alive. You know, so you have to go down that route, and it's hard, and sometimes it's too hard for a lot of people. You know, and some people are resilient to it, and some people buckle, and people that have a real drive and can maintain the level of focus required to not just hone their skill, but actually do the business side of it as well. I have a lot of admiration for them, because I mean that's part of being a musician. It's like all we want to do is just turn up and sing, but actually you have to do all the business side of it, and I find it excruciating. I hate it. And obviously the alternative is to pay somebody to do all that side of it. But I'm a musician, so I can't afford that. So you're like trapped in this like, oh god, I've got to do everything. I've got to do marketing, and I've got to do admin, and I've got to do promotion, and I'm like, and all I want to do is you know, get some sleep. Quite frankly, a lot of the time.
Finally, what I would say is, what advice and what tips have you got for anyone who's starting out, coming into like the songwriting and performing and just going into the industry as a whole? What sort of tips have you got?
I think one of the key things is early on to not censor yourself too much. It's it's kind of striking that balance. When at the beginning, I think you need to kind of not compare yourself to other people too much, because you've still got to learn your craft. And if you compare yourself to other people that have been doing things for a long time, you might feel so much less than, that you end up not putting in enough time on it to improve. You know, anything is a skill, songwriting is a skill, the performing is a skill, and so on. So that's for a while, but it's like once you're then going to start stepping kind of outside your bedroom and going on stage, then you kind of need to start to get an idea of where you fit within the kind of the scene around you. And it's important to go out there, to just try it and do it. But then also to keep a perspective on where you are in that hierarchy, so you don't get kind of too arrogant, so you don't get too carried away. It's like, oh, I'm the best thing since sliced bread and all this sort of thing. Because that then becomes a disincentive to work on your craft and actually get better. And I mean, one of the things, you know, we have so many opportunities in Bedford for going out and performing new material. But it is a place where it's kind of relatively easy to be a big fish in a tiny pond, and you have to be careful of that, because if you end up getting too caught up in your own publicity, as it were, you can end up thinking that you're better than you are, and at some point you have to step outside of that little pond, because otherwise you won't grow.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, I'm going to say thank you for the great interview.
You're very welcome.
Very much, and thank you for watching.